Josha, thank you so much for spending time and chatting with us.
Most definitely.
Describe to me, what does data-driven decision-making look like in your district at your school sites?
It guides our processes. One of the things in education, you can't do what feels good. You got to do what works, and the data is the key precipitator of every move we make to make sure we're doing things that are definitely impacting students for the better and different things. And it also shows if we need to make adjustments and things like that. So I think you have to have a data-rich community, and I think people can't be scared of data, good, bad, or indifferent. You got to make sure what you're doing and what's impacting is making a difference. And that data-rich kind of conversations really aid in that capacity.
Right. How do you help with the mindset around data? Because I know a lot of times it almost feels like you're stepping on the scale.
Yeah.
How do you help the mindset of, we're using this data to look for things that are working, we're looking to promote things? How do you help that mindset shift?
We just have to create a culture where there's a trust that, it's not a gotcha moment. It's about growth. It's about what's better for everyone. So if you're not doing anything negative to people, they can trust, because the data could show the kids aren't learning what you're teaching, and do I have to do something different? So you have to be selfless in exam. And I try to lead by example in that regard. So if we're not doing something, I can then communicate it and stuff like that. And I can lead and say, okay, no one's yelling at me, so I'm not going to come yell at you if the data says something else. So I think you have to create a culture of trust so you can look at that data and you can make those right adjustments. One of the things I think you have to do with the data too is look at it regularly through your PLCs, through short cycle assessments and stuff like that. I tell my team all the time, I want to do physicals, not autopsies. You know what I'm saying? So if you're doing those type of things on a short-term basis, you can get the data and make moves and things of that nature.
Which the intention is to change instruction.
Exactly.
And if you're waiting till I love that.
Yeah.
Till the autism.
Yeah, you can't do. You're already dead. You're already dead.
We know that math is a gatekeeper to college for a lot of kids. How do you help students have more of a math mindset or confidence in the area of math?
I think that starts with the teachers, quite honestly. And I think one of the things that we have to make sure, especially in a K-12 spectrum, you can't have kids want to do calculus or high-level math if you're not doing something different in kindergarten or in that K-5 band. So I think one of the things we really are trying to make sure we have strong teachers in that area and make sure they understand math, because a lot of elementary teachers are more literacy people instead of mathematic people. So we've actually kind of started doing almost like the middle school concept at the elementary, where you have a single teacher who just does math. If you're the good math person on the first grade team, you're teaching all the math to everybody, and other teachers do everything different. So that way you can make sure it's not an afterthought or anything like that, because one of the things that teachers need to understand is the whole concept of numeracy and the depth of math and things like that. So kids then teach that to the students. So I think making sure you have a strong foundation at the elementary level can really propel you along the way. But making sure that you have those strong teachers who are teaching the concept and doing those type of things has been very beneficial for us.
Got it. So describe that a little more. So if I'm an elementary teacher, I could just be the elementary math.
Yeah, so if I have three sections and three first grade sections, I'm going to teach all the math on that team. And the other two teachers may just teach the English and social studies and stuff like that, because I'm math strong. So it's almost like that middle school concept where you have one teacher that's teaching the content and everything like that. And teachers like it too, you know what I'm saying? So it's been working for us.
Yeah, as a math teacher for 20 years, I taught math and I'd send my kids out for art.
Yeah.
Because they weren't my strength areas.
Exactly.
And I would say, yes, send your kids to me.
Exactly.
Teach them math, because I loved it.
That's what we're trying to do.
So you're really tapping into the strengths.
Most definitely.
Right, of the teachers.
Because I might not be a good literacy teacher and I'm elementary, but I'm strong in math, so I want to do that and things like that.
So tap into their strengths, right? Their confidence or the areas that they love, because you know that exudes onto the kids. If you love math.
And you're excited about it, it'll translate to them as well.
Definitely. So as a former special ed teacher, how do you see like personalization and AI helping us to support kids that do have processing challenges or organizational issues? How do you see AI for the future helping in that arena?
I think it's going to be a game changer. I think it's an equalizer and a leveler, because I think it's a moral imperative, quite honestly, for at-risk students and for special education students, because now there's a tool that can get everyone on the same leveling playing field. And I think we can't be scared of AI. Actually, I just did a district-wide in-service with a tool for my district. So the teachers really understand you're not fearful of this. And once again, that's letting them play with it, letting them experiment and letting them see, okay, we're going to go slow to go fast. So this is our year of discovery, what tool we're going to use, how you're going to use it in the classroom. So then next year we'll bring it to the students and things of that nature so they can make sure they're using it and making sure you're using it in a creative way. So use the AI tool as an equalizer and not as a deterrent. Because, educators are so, we hate change and we hate new technologies. Because remember, everybody hated Google when it first came out. They thought kids were going to cheat.
Calculate.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? But it's everywhere around us. I think we have to be in the forefront. We can't be scared to implement the tool to do it. So I think it's just being creative with it and making sure the teachers have the ability to be creative when they're presenting it to the students.
Got it. If I was a brand new middle school math teacher and I wanted to come teach in your district, what supports do I get? How do I know what I'm supposed to teach? Who helps me, set up my pedagogy or lesson design? What does that look like for you all?
So we have an onboarding process that for when teachers come on and they come meet with us in August with the director of curriculum. So they have access to all their curriculum resources. We are Google district, so you have a Google platform where they have access to all the lessons and stuff like that. And we upload those units regularly so they can be authentic and organic and they can change. So they have all those aspects. We also make sure they have a mentor teacher in the building. And we try to have quarterly new teacher meetings to say, okay, is everything good? Because if you're drowning, we want to make sure you give you a life jacket early and stuff like that. So we try to make sure we and always have our hands on them to make sure they're being successful. And like I said, being on that team where they're meeting with PLC, so you're meeting with your grade level or content level cohort, so you can have some supports in that regard. So making sure you have everything you need to be successful, because the generation of teachers now that we have now, they're not staying. They're not comfortable. It's just a different thing. They'll leave in 30 days without giving you any notice if they are not comfortable and stuff like that. So you want to make sure they're successful.
Got it. With AI and doing professional development with your teachers, how are you getting parents and community on board? Because I know there's some mixed emotions about AI.
Just making sure we're transparent with what we're doing and letting them know what's going on. And AI is on your phone. If you have the new iPhone, the AI synthesizes your text messages, so you don't have to read it or your email. It synthesizes it now, so it's all around us. So we need to make sure we are the gatekeepers to make sure it's used in an appropriate way, making sure the students have the fidelity of the resource and ensure parents know about it. And half the time they don't understand it because, I'm a parent too. So my kids, here, show me how to do this on my phone. And they do it. But making sure they are aware that we're implementing AI. And actually, I sent out a newsletter about this PD we had. So families do it. We're embarking on this journey. So I don't want you hearing it from other districts and stuff like that. We're standing packed. We have to make sure we're innovative and engaging and rewarding students in that regard. But so making sure the community and parents know about it through communications and things of that nature.
Communication will be essential. What would you say is the thing that you're most proud of that you have implemented, put in place?
That's great. I think one of the things I'm most proud of is the curriculum overhaul that we've done since my tenure as the superintendent, because we just recognize that we have a 14% increased graduation rate from last year and things of that nature. We also have some schools, two of our elementary schools were taken off any performance list from the state, so they made adequate progress and things of that nature. So we have a system in place, and that goes through trust and things like that everybody's moving in the same direction. We're growing in the same direction, and we're seeing the results. We're seeing a higher level of performance on our students on state tests, on our local tests, and things like that. So moving that iceberg, which took a long time, but it moved, and now we're seeing the results. But now that you see the results, you can push harder because now they're successful. So I'm just thinking that doing that whole overall of our curriculum format, making sure we did gradual release, making sure we had fidelity and standards and different things like that, making sure teachers understand the depth of knowledge and the things of that nature, and making sure we always have those things and being focused and being unapologetically focused on changing the lives of kids has probably been what I'm most proud of.
Got it. A curriculum overhaul often helps teachers calibrate expectations.
Yes.
Because normally we get the materials, we start using the book, but to do a curriculum overhaul really requires us to say, what does that mean?
And then what it's going to look like for us. You know what I'm saying? I tell them we use a curriculum, but the curriculum is a resource. I still want you to have your professional expertise when you're designing this unit and make sure you have resources to do those things. So always making sure you do those at all times.
Yeah. I love telling teachers, you're the artist. These are your paint and clay. Right? You design it the way you see fit, because we want you to love it.
Most definitely. And it has to be, you have to own it.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have to own it.
100%. Now, 14% increase in graduation rate, that is incredible.
Mm-hmm.
What would you say attributed to that? So if someone was saying, what's the recipe?
Sure.
What caused that? Because lots are trying to move the needle and the needle's not moving.
So one of the things we did was elongate the school day when we had the COVID dollars. So we basically had after school tutoring Tuesday and Thursday for 2 years. So we elongated the day. So any teacher, any student that was behind at the high school, they were mandated to come and get, or if we know a student needed additional support, so they were able to come and things like that. And I think that really helped. So what we've kind of, since that money is gone, what we've kind of did is have checkups during the school day and on Fridays and stuff like that. So students can get those additional supports. And if you're behind again, you have to go to the checkups to get what you need to be successful and things like that. So it was additional time, additional resources that were poured into the students.
Very strategic,
yes,
it sounds like.
Most definitely.
Strategic. If you had one wish, and you can't wish for more wishes, if you had one wish of reflecting on this year, moving to next year, what would be one wish?
That's a good question. I guess I wish we continue the successful implementation of things we're doing with fidelity, so we can continue to impact the lives of kids. Making sure the things that we're doing that are working, we're continuing, and the things that we aren't working, we're making adjustments so we can have a better impact.
Oh, good one. We know that math is kind of that gatekeeper to college. How are you supporting the secondary students to make sure they're passing algebra the first time? We often see they have to retake it a number of times.
I think the biggest way to help that is to have it, like I said, the system aspect. So they're having stronger K-8 experiences. So when they're my goal is to have our students start taking algebra in 8th grade if possible. We're not there yet, you know what I'm saying? But making sure they're math strong, and so they are able to take the course and be successful. Because algebra is a gateway for college admissions and stuff like that. So, and make sure we have strong teachers that can really relate. Because sometimes math teachers, you know it, but you can't teach it. Yeah. So making sure they have the pedagogy to make sure they have that skill to translate that knowledge to somebody as well.
That, I think you hit the nail on the head. I taught 7th grade math for 20 years, and it took me about a week to realize that most of the kids didn't think like I did. Yeah. And I was like, whoa.
Yeah, you have to teach opposite of how you learn. Yeah. And that's what I learned as a special education teacher, because I may be able to read something one time and get it, but if I'm translating knowledge, they don't have the same capacity as I. So you have to be cognizant of that.
Right? That's really equipped you, right? To really see that, gosh, kids have a wide variety of needs.
You have to everything got the toolkit. Throw everything out your pocket sometimes to see what works.
Right.
What works for one group won't work for the next group.
Exactly. Is there anything that I didn't think to ask that you would like to share?
No, I think you did a very good job of asking questions, but thank you for the opportunity just to share some thoughts and things like that. I think you're really spot on in regard to the math. That is a gateway, and I think students, if they can have some strength and some confidence in math, they'll go a long way as they matriculate through the K-12 systems and even in college and things of that nature.
It's so nice to meet you.
Oh, my pleasure as well. Thank you so much.